911, what's your emergency?
He's eating her! He's eating my friend!
Ma'am, calm down. Who's eating your friend?
He ripped her face off! She's dead! He's killing her!
This isn't a story about a wild animal in the jungle, a creature born and raised in the untamed wilderness. This is a story about a beast nurtured in a suburban home, fed from a fork, dressed in clothes, a bizarre mockery of human domesticity. A creature that became a local celebrity, a mascot, almost a person. But beneath the veneer of domestication, the primal heart of a wild beast still beat. And on one ordinary February afternoon, that heart exploded in a paroxysm of unimaginable violence, forever altering the life of a woman and shocking a nation to its core. It's a chilling reminder that no matter how much we believe we can tame nature, no matter how much we attempt to bend it to our will, nature always, eventually, remembers its true self. And when that raw, instinctual power is unleashed in an environment it was never meant for, the consequences can be catastrophic. The thin line between pet and predator can vanish in an instant, leaving behind a trail of unimaginable terror and regret. In the quiet, tree-lined streets of Stamford, Connecticut, where neat houses lined manicured lawns, lived a woman named Sandra Herold. Sandra wasn't your typical suburbanite. Her life, for decades, had been deeply unconventional, almost fantastical, revolving around a creature many would deem utterly unsuitable for a pet. For 20 years, her world had spun around a chimpanzee named Travis. Sandra had acquired Travis as a tiny, helpless infant, snatched from his mother too soon, a mere 3 days old. She poured all her maternal instincts into him, treating him not like an animal to be managed, but like a son to be nurtured. From the moment he entered her life, Travis was immersed in a human world. He ate at the dinner table, often sipping wine from a stemmed glass, a startling image that became a local legend. He watched baseball on TV, used the toilet, and even brushed his teeth. He rode in Sandra's truck, sometimes even driving it on her property, a sight that never failed to amuse onlookers. Travis was more than just a pet. He was a phenomenon, a local character. He starred in Old Navy commercials, sipped Coca-Cola in ads, and made appearances on popular talk shows like The Maury Povich Show and The Man Show. He was famous, charming, almost human. People loved him, found him fascinating. They saw the clever tricks, the almost human eyes, the playful demeanor. Their bond was undeniable, almost spiritual in its intensity. Sandra believed Travis understood her, communicated with her on a profound level, loved her unconditionally. He was her constant companion, her shadow. When her husband Jerry died in 2004, and then her daughter Sue tragically passed away from cancer in 2008, Travis became her everything. He filled the gaping void in her heart, a furry, powerful, intelligent presence that understood her grief in ways humans couldn't. This wasn't just a pet, this was family. This was her purpose, her reason for getting up each day. Her entire existence revolved around Travis. She often slept with him, bathed him, even shared her bed. The lines between human and animal, between owner and pet, had blurred completely, dissolving into an almost symbiotic relationship that, unbeknownst to Sandra, was fraught with inherent danger. Their home was Travis's domain, a place where the rules of the wild had been, in Sandra's mind, completely rewritten. Friends and neighbors knew Travis. They had seen him driving Sandra's truck, riding shotgun, even opening doors for her. He was a Stamford fixture, a curious, sometimes mischievous, but seemingly benign presence. No one truly grasped the inherent danger lurking beneath the surface, the raw, untamed power contained within that familiar, furry form. They saw the commercials, the clever tricks, the nearly human expressions. They didn't see the millions of years of evolution, the sheer instinct for survival, dominance, and territorial aggression that lay dormant, waiting for the slightest trigger. The chimp, for all his apparent domesticity, remained a wild animal. Travis was a male chimpanzee, a formidable primate weighing in at a stunning 200 pounds. At 14 years old, he was in his physical prime, a creature of immense muscular strength and surprising agility. Chimpanzees, native to the dense forests and savannas of equatorial Africa, are not merely strong. They possess a level of strength estimated to be 5 to 8 times that of a human. They are built for tearing, for climbing through dense canopy, for defending their territory with ferocious abandon. Their hands, though resembling human hands, are incredibly powerful, designed for crushing and grasping with terrifying force. Travis was an anomaly, an ambassador from the wild living in a quiet Connecticut suburb, divorced from his natural habitat and social structure. His species, Pan troglodytes, is known for complex social structures, remarkable intelligence, problem-solving abilities, and, crucially, a capacity for sudden, explosive aggression. In the wild, male chimpanzees can engage in brutal, territorial battles, displaying savage violence towards rivals, even engaging in infanticide. Their natural diet includes a wide array of fruits, leaves, insects, and occasionally meat, which they can tear apart with ease using their powerful jaws and sharp teeth. Despite his domestic upbringing, Travis exhibited subtle, yet increasingly apparent warnings. There were incidents, hushed up or rationalized away. A postal worker bitten in '96, a brief escape where he roamed the neighborhood and approached cars. These were often dismissed as playful nips or harmless curiosity. Sandra, blinded by her intense affection and attachment, saw Travis as her child, incapable of true malice. She believed she had tamed the wild, that love alone could negate millions of years of instinctual behavior. She couldn't have been more wrong. The animal, the primal force, was always there, just beneath the surface of the television star and the house pet. The warnings were there, clear as day, if only someone had truly listened and understood the inherent dangers of such a powerful and unpredictable creature. Every suppressed incident, every rationalized behavior was a step closer to the precipice. The cracks in Travis's domesticated facade weren't sudden, dramatic events. They were slow, insidious fissures, widening over time, often dismissed or rationalized by Sandra. The incident with the postal worker in '90 where Travis bit him, causing a significant injury, became a cautionary tale that went unheeded. Sandra paid a fine, and the incident faded from public memory, but the underlying aggression and territoriality remained, unaddressed. Travis was growing, not just in size, but in his capacity for sudden violence. Then came the brief escapes. Travis, a creature of boundless curiosity and formidable strength, would occasionally manage to slip Sandra's grasp or open a door. He'd wander the neighborhood, sometimes creating minor mischief, once even opening a neighbor's car door and attempting to interact with the occupants. These incidents were consistently brushed off as Travis being playful or merely exploring his surroundings. The terrifying delusion was that a 200-pound primate, capable of dismembering a human with terrifying ease, was simply playing. This denial was a dangerous luxury. The true escalation, however, began to manifest in more subtle yet profoundly disturbing ways within the Herold home. Travis grew increasingly possessive of Sandra, displaying intense territoriality. Strangers, even familiar faces, would be met with a wary, sometimes hostile gaze. He became more prone to sudden, unpredictable bursts of agitation, often triggered by minor stressors, a change in routine, an unfamiliar sound, even a perceived threat to Sandra. These weren't full-blown attacks, not yet, but rather flashes of the untamed beast within. A sudden snarl, a tense posture, a rapid change in his usually calm demeanor. His eyes would narrow, his lips pull back in a grimace that was anything but a smile. Sandra herself admitted that Travis had become increasingly moody and unpredictable in the weeks leading up to the attack. The warnings were there, etched in the chimpanzee's eyes, in the subtle shifts in his powerful body language, in the growing frequency of his agitated states. But love, or perhaps a profound and desperate denial, shielded Sandra from the terrifying truth. She believed her unique bond with Travis was unbreakable, an impenetrable shield against his primal nature. She couldn't fathom her Travis, the gentle, loving companion, the star of commercials, ever truly harming anyone, let alone her dearest friend. This unwavering, almost delusional belief in his complete docility became a ticking time bomb, slowly counting down to an inevitable, horrifying detonation. Every dismissed warning, every rationalized incident, every moment of turning a blind eye, pushed them closer and closer to the brink of an unspeakable tragedy that would shock the entire nation. February 16, 2009. The air in Stamford, Connecticut was cold, crisp, carrying the biting chill of a typical New England winter's day. It started innocuously enough, a seemingly ordinary afternoon that would soon descend into unimaginable horror. Sandra Herold, feeling unwell, had taken Xanax, a powerful anti-anxiety medication. Its effects dulled her senses, blurring the edges of her perception. Travis, often a mirror of Sandra's moods and anxieties, seemed agitated. He was restless, pacing, and then he did something peculiar. He had something in his hand, Sandra's car keys, a strange, almost human act of defiance, a clear sign of his growing agitation. 3:30 p.m. Travis, holding the keys like a trophy, slipped out of the house. Sandra, fuzzy from the medication, called out to him, but he ignored her. He darted around the yard, playful yet defiant, his powerful body moving with surprising speed. Sandra knew he loved the car, loved going for rides. She tried to coax him back inside, but he was too quick, too strong, too willful. A slow, cold dread began to coil in her stomach. This wasn't just mischievousness now. This felt different. Something was deeply wrong. 3:45 p.m. Desperate, feeling increasingly overwhelmed and unable to control him herself, Sandra made a phone call, a call that would unwittingly set in motion a chain of events leading to unspeakable horror. She called her friend, Charla Nash. Charla was 55, a kind woman, gentle and trusting, and a familiar face to Travis. Sandra believed Charla, with her calm demeanor and known presence, could calm him, perhaps lure him back inside the house. Charla, trusting and wanting to help her friend in distress, didn't hesitate. She agreed to come over immediately. 4 p.m. Charla arrived, pulling her car into the driveway. She carried a Tickle Me Elmo doll, one of Travis's absolute favorite toys from his television days. The idea was simple, almost innocent. Present the familiar beloved toy, and Travis would calm down, remember his training, his bond with the humans he knew. Charla stepped out of her car, the Elmo doll held out, a hopeful gesture, a bridge to their past familiarity. The cold air bit at her cheeks. Seconds later. Travis, spotting Charla and the Elmo doll, didn't react with recognition or affection. Something snapped violently and irrevocably. The sight of Charla, perhaps the bright red Elmo doll, or maybe the potent cocktail of his own increasing agitation, the Xanax in his system, and Sandra's drugged state, ignited a terrifying fuse. He didn't approach with curiosity or playfulness. He lunged. The attack was instantaneous, savage beyond comprehension. Travis, a 200-pound projectile of coiled muscle and incandescent rage, slammed into Charla. There was no growl, no warning snarl, just the terrifying speed and brutal force of a predator. He latched onto her face, not with a playful nip, but with the full, destructive force of his primal strength. Charla screamed, a sound of pure, unadulterated agony that would forever haunt Sandra. 02 p.m. Sandra watched in disbelief, then profound horror. Her son, her beloved Travis, was tearing at Charla like a rag doll. Blood erupted, a sickening spray against the stark winter landscape, painting the pristine snow crimson. Charla fell, a crumpled heap on the driveway, as Travis continued his relentless assault, a blur of fur and fury. Sandra, a woman consumed by desperation, grabbed a butcher knife from the kitchen. She ran outside, screaming Travis's name, pleading with him to stop, her voice ragged with terror. She plunged the knife into him, again and again, the blade sinking into his thick fur and powerful muscle. He didn't flinch. He didn't even acknowledge her presence. His focus was entirely, terrifyingly, on Charla. 03 p.m. Sandra, frantic, her mind reeling, grabbed a shovel from the garage. She beat Travis with it, striking blow after blow with all her might, a desperate, futile attempt to pry him off her friend. Each impact landed with a sickening thud, but the chimp was an unstoppable force of nature, driven by an ancient, terrifying instinct that no human intervention could deter. Charla's screams had turned to gurgles, choked cries of pain, as the brutal, prolonged attack continued, a nightmare unfolding in broad daylight. To 4:04 p.m., Sandra, her voice raw with terror, her hands shaking uncontrollably, dialed 911. "He's eating her! He's eating her!" she shrieked into the phone, her words a chilling testament to the unspeakable scene unfolding before her eyes. 7 p.m. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder with terrifying speed. The flashing blue and red lights of police cruisers cut through the fading daylight, painting the scene in an eerie, pulsing glow. Travis, still covered in Charla's blood, momentarily looked up from his victim, his eyes glazed with an unholy fury. He spotted the police car pulling up, lights swirling, tires crunching on the gravel. Instead of retreating, he advanced, a chilling testament to his completely unhinged state. He approached the driver's side, ripped off the side view mirror with a single powerful swipe, and tried to wrench open the door, his eyes blazing with feral aggression, a terrifying, guttural sound rumbling deep in his chest. 08 p.m. Officer Frank Chiafari, seeing the grotesque spectacle, seeing the blood-soaked chimpanzee, realized the immediate and mortal threat. He had no choice. There was no time for tranquilizer guns, no time for hesitation. He drew his weapon, a standard-issue pistol, and fired. Multiple shots rang out, deafening in the quiet neighborhood, echoing through the trees. Travis, struck, stumbled backward, a look of shocked confusion briefly crossing his face, then turned and retreated into the house, leaving Charla lying motionless, a broken, barely recognizable form on the frozen ground. The silence that followed the gunshots was punctuated only by Sandra's ragged sobs. Inside the house, Travis collapsed, his rampage finally over. He died minutes later, bleeding out on the familiar kitchen floor. The scene that greeted the first responders was something ripped from a horror film, a visceral nightmare that would forever be seared into their minds. The chilling 911 call had prepared them for a dire situation, but nothing, absolutely nothing, could truly prepare them for the grotesque reality laid out before them. Officer Chiafari, who had fired the fatal shots, later described the experience as deeply disturbing, the most horrific and traumatic incident of his entire career. He would carry the images with him always. Medics rushed to Charla's side, their faces grim, their movements precise. What they saw was indescribable, beyond their training or experience. Her face was gone, simply gone, a mangled void where her features should have been. Her hands were mangled, almost entirely detached, hanging by shreds of skin and tendon. Her eyes, open but sightless, stared blankly into the cold winter sky, utterly devoid of life or recognition. One seasoned paramedic was quoted as saying, his voice shaking, "It was beyond anything I've ever seen in my 20 years. Her face was just gone. You couldn't tell it was a person." The sheer scale of the damage was initially baffling, almost unbelievable. How could an animal, even one of Travis's size, inflict such catastrophic injuries? Witness accounts from neighbors who had heard the piercing screams, or who had bravely, or foolishly, glimpsed parts of the horrific attack, were fragmented and filled with terror. One neighbor reported hearing screams that seemed to go on forever, a sound of pure, unadulterated agony that rose and fell in sickening waves. Another spoke of seeing the chimpanzee, covered in blood, acting with an unnatural, terrifying fury, like a demon unleashed. The collective shock and profound disbelief that permeated the quiet suburban street was palpable, a heavy blanket of dread settling over the community. The police immediately secured the scene, transforming the ordinary driveway into a crime scene, a grim tableau of blood, shattered glass, and profound human suffering. An investigation was immediately launched, but the immediate focus for those present was the desperate fight to save Charla Nash. She was barely alive, a testament to her incredible resilience and an almost incomprehensible will to survive. The medical team worked quickly, with practiced urgency, stabilizing her, intubating her, preparing her for the desperate race against time to the hospital. Every second counted. Her life hung by the thinnest of threads, a fragile existence clinging to the very edge of the abyss, defying all expectations. Charla Nash's journey of survival began the very moment paramedics airlifted her from that blood-soaked driveway, her mangled body a testament to unimaginable trauma. She was rushed to Stamford Hospital, where doctors immediately recognized the catastrophic nature of her injuries and swiftly transferred her to the Cleveland Clinic, a renowned medical center capable of handling such complex, life-threatening cases. The list of her wounds was staggering, almost biblical in its severity. Complete loss of hands, nose, lips, and eyelids. Her facial bones were shattered beyond recognition, and perhaps most tragically, she was rendered completely blind. Her injuries were not just disfiguring, they were fundamentally life-altering, ripping away her independence, her very identity, leaving her in a world of perpetual darkness and dependence. The media frenzy was immediate and unprecedented. Chimp mauls woman screamed headlines across the nation and around the world. Cable news channels ran constant updates, dissecting every grim detail of the horrific incident. The story was a macabre blend of celebrity animal gone rogue and unimaginable human suffering, a perfect storm for sensationalized reporting. The public devoured every piece of information, horrified yet morbidly fascinated. Debates raged on television and radio about the ethics of owning exotic animals, the inherent dangers they posed, and the glaring failure of existing laws to protect innocent citizens. Public opinion was sharply divided. Some expressed profound sympathy for Charla and outrage at the lax laws, while others, perhaps misguidedly, expressed pity for Sandra, believing she was a victim of her own misguided love. In the wake of the tragedy, an autopsy was meticulously performed on Travis. The findings were crucial in understanding the incident. While initial speculation centered on rabies, some unknown disease, or even a sudden, inexplicable fit of madness, the autopsy revealed no such conditions. The toxicology report, however, provided a disturbing clue. It showed traces of Xanax in his system, likely from an accidental ingestion from Sandra's medication, which she had been taking that day. While not definitively proven to be the sole cause of his aggression, the drug could have amplified his agitation and aggression, pushing him over the edge into a psychotic, violent episode. This revelation further fueled the already raging debate about human responsibility in exotic pet ownership, highlighting the potential for even seemingly benign actions to have catastrophic consequences when dealing with powerful wild animals. The legal consequences followed swiftly. Charla Nash's family filed a $50 million lawsuit against Sandra Herold, alleging gross negligence. The lawsuit argued that Herold knew of Travis's dangerous tendencies, his past incidents with the postal worker, and his escapes, and yet failed to take adequate precautions to secure him, ultimately leading to Charla's horrific injuries. The legal battle was complex, emotionally charged, and played out for years in the public eye, drawing continuous media attention. Sandra Herold, a woman already ravaged by grief over the loss of her husband and daughter, and the profound trauma of witnessing the attack, died in May 2010, just over a year after the incident, from a ruptured aortic aneurysm. Her death added another layer of profound tragedy to an already devastating story, leaving the lawsuit in legal limbo for a time, before eventually being settled with her estate for $4 million, a mere fraction of the initial claim. It was a sum that could never truly compensate for Charla's immeasurable loss and suffering. The public reaction continued to be a mix of shock, outrage, and profound sadness. Animal rights organizations renewed their impassioned calls for stricter laws, highlighting the inherent, undeniable danger of keeping wild animals in domestic settings. Legislators in Connecticut and beyond began to review and strengthen regulations concerning exotic pets, with the Travis Law eventually being passed, making it illegal to own primates over 50 pounds in Connecticut. The incident became a powerful, stark case study, a horrifying warning echoing across the nation and around the world. A chimpanzee, no matter how human it seems, how much it is loved, or how long it has been domesticated, can never truly be tamed. Its wildness remains, a powerful, untamed force that can, in a single horrific moment, destroy lives and forever alter the course of human destiny. Charla Nash's journey, one of unimaginable pain, incredible resilience, and an unwavering fight for survival, became a symbol of that undeniable, terrifying truth. She endured countless surgeries, including a groundbreaking face transplant in 2011, a testament to medical advancement and her fierce, indomitable will to live. But the scars, both visible and invisible, would remain forever, a living monument to the day the wild came home. The story of Charla Nash and Travis the chimpanzee is more than just a horrifying incident. It's a profound, chilling fable for our modern age. It speaks to our deep-seated human desire to control, to domesticate, to love even the wildest and most dangerous of creatures. Sandra Herold's love for Travis was undeniable, almost boundless, perhaps even admirable in its intensity. But that love, however pure, however deep, could not erase millions of years of evolution. The raw, untamed instinct of a wild animal designed for survival in a brutal world. Travis wasn't a monster born of malice. He was a chimpanzee, behaving as his species is biologically wired to do, albeit in a tragically inappropriate setting. His aggression, his power, his unpredictable nature were not deviations from his true self, but expressions of it. The horrific last moments of Charla's attack were not the end of her life, but a cataclysmic beginning. Her survival, her strength, her quiet dignity in the face of unimaginable loss stands as a profound testament to the indomitable nature of the human spirit. But it also serves as a stark, undeniable warning, etched in blood and tears. The wild belongs in the wild. And to forget that, to invite untamed poor into our homes, into our carefully constructed suburban lives, is to court a darkness that can erupt without warning, without mercy, and forever change everything. The echoes of that frantic 911 call, the screams that pierced the quiet afternoon, the chilling silence that followed, still resonate. A terrifying reminder that some lines are meant to be uncrossed, some boundaries respected, and some wild things, no matter how charming, how beloved, or how familiar, are never truly meant to be ours.